All right. So, again, my name is Sherry Delgado. My presentation is going to be on greenhouse gas emissions coming from our dairies and cows. So, I'll be going over this topic. And so, just an introduction is that cows that are on our dairies are producing enormous amounts of greenhouse gas emissions. It's caused from them burping and passing gas. So I'll be talking about that along with manure that comes from the cows that are on the dairies. And I'm going to be talking about the diets of these cows and talking a little bit about seaweed, and you'll see how that ties in here in the future slides. So I'll be going over that. So livestock is one of the largest sources of methane. It's so what happens is cows actually burp and pass gas a lot, which produces a lot of methane and a lot of greenhouse gases that come from these farms. And just so you know, a greenhouse gas are gaseous compounds in the atmosphere that is capable of absorbing infrared radiation, which traps and holds heat into the atmosphere, and by increasing the heat in the atmosphere. So we don't want the earth to be too warm where it's unlivable for us humans and livestock to live on. So it's a big concern. And I think a lot of people don't take it as serious as it really should be. There are studies out there that state that 40% of livestock emissions are from methane. Sorry, there are 44 of the livestock emissions are in the form of methane, and the other percentage share between nitrous oxide and carbon dioxide. So as you see, this cow in the middle is burping. As you know, as humans, as we eat, we have to release the gas by burping or passing gas, which produces methane for these cows that go into the atmosphere. And so there are about 1 to 1.5 billion of cows on the planet, and around each cow weighs around 1,300 pounds, which means they have a very big appetite. Just like humans, when you eat, gas builds up and that has to be released somehow. So the cow either passes gas or burps a lot, which produces a large amount of methane being introduced to the atmosphere. 90% of the methane that comes produced is from the cow's mouth. Cows produce about 30 to 50 gallons of methane per day. And if you really think about it, I just said there was about 1 to 1.5 million cows, billion cows. And think about it, if they produce 30 to 50 gallons per day, times that by the 1.5 billion, you can imagine how much methane is produced from cows on a daily basis, and that's just from cows. So, and livestock in general is about responsible for 14.5% of these greenhouse gas emissions. So it's a pretty big percent out there that comes from them. Now, some solutions that I came across, I think that would help with these greenhouse gas emissions is a lot of these dairies, they use liquid manure. Now, liquid manure has to be stored in an anaerobic system, which means without oxygen. When the manure gets broken down due to it not having oxygen, it promotes gas formation. So after they pull it out of the system to lay it out, this actually gives out more methane than solid manure. So this is why smaller farms that use solid manure, they give out less greenhouse gas emissions. So it seems like that would be, an easy fix. Just, use solid manure over the liquid manure, and that would help out. Now, also, there's research stating that if you added a little bit of seaweed to the cow's diet, that it reduced the emissions by 80% from cows burping, and I think that's a ginormous amount of reduction in emissions. So I feel like that would be something to really look at and to help with this. And they actually say that people have seaweed farms and they're very profitable. They can generate 37,000 in profit per year on these farms. And if you think about it, a farmer is already farming cows. If they can just farm maybe seaweed, that would also be able to be fed to the cows, which they wouldn't have to buy on the side. And they can also make a profit off of that. I see that as a win-win because we're also helping our atmosphere at the end of the day. And then changing the cow's diet by adding seaweed or going organic wouldn't only be helping the methane production, but it would also be increasing the overall health of the cow due to it eating organic, and that would produce more better quality beef. And the farmer could actually probably sell it for a higher price since it's a better quality of meat. And, everyone's always looking for that great cut of meat. And, people are always looking for more of like an organic. So if a cow's eating more organic, then they know that the meat is going to be more of a well-produced quality of meat. And some of the counter arguments I see about this is the expense, the income, expense of, solid manure versus liquid manure. Is it cheaper to go more liquid? Also, if they were to do organic, the cost of organic is usually on a higher price. And then also the income, if they do start a seaweed farm, that takes money to start up. So I can see them not wanting to put an out-of-pocket expense on, fronting that money out there. So that could be a big problem as well. Now, I think, let's make a difference for these generations to come. And, it's going to be hard to change minds of these farmers because, some people have been doing farming in their family for generations to come, and, it's been passed on. And, you don't ask questions like people really don't sit down and ask like what changes can I make to help with the environment? When something's been done the same way for 30, 50 years, you seem to not want to change. You're kind of stuck in your ways, and it's like no one likes change. No one really likes to do that. And if you think about it, making these positive changes on these dairies can make a big impact. And, it just takes one person to start, and then it kind of hopefully is like a domino effect, and it would be a great thing to start now so we can protect our earth and planet for many more years to come. And then, this is just like, hypothetical situation here, but also I just want to throw out there that California is the state that has the most dairies, and that's about 1.8 million milk cows, and that is almost 20% of the nation's milk production. So let's lead by example, and let's let everyone else follow by making a difference. And I just really appreciate you watching and listening to my slide. Thank you.